Hi, good morning. It's Andrew Gillsespie, and I'm sitting with Ellen Consolver, a veteran of the oil industry for over 20 years, predominantly with ExxonMobil. And during her time there, she spent many hours and months and years involved in over 30 jurisdictions in Africa in this industry. And we're going to be discussing about how much of Africa is about oil.
When the oil crisis hits, it always seems to be all about oil. And having been in the industry for that period of time, we've seen crises before. And while oil is always important, and particularly for Africa, I think it's very important to not think of Africa as a monolith. It's over 50 different nations, many of which do not produce oil. So some of the ones that make the headlines, of course, are very severely impacted by their budgets, such as the Nigerias, Gabons, Angolas. But others who are importers rather than exporters, is what I meant to say, actually have been seeing a benefit from this. Today, we're talking with a colleague from Zimbabwe, which has seen, because of the lower price of oil, a reduction in the price of fertilizers, which then enables more of a growth in their agricultural economy. It will always be important, but I think that one of the benefits of this crisis is that many of the governments have stepped back or stepping back, looking at their policies, taking actions that are needed, such as the removal of subsidies from gasoline, without then, because of the lower price of gasoline, without stress on the consumers, looking at diversification and support that needs to be given for more entrepreneurial activities, and also to take a look at what they should be doing more aggressively in the renewables area to substitute for some of the needs that oil products are used for.
Wow, so you raise a good point, and as a director or someone who sits on the board of African Power Corporation, you're probably quite well placed then to have a perspective on, well, how would a recovery then play out? How would a recovery look for Africa in this space?
I think a recovery will need to be based on having a realistic expectation of the oil price, and that if it goes up to $140 a barrel again, which it won't, and those we all should know that the price of oil goes up and down, and if it goes even up to 60, possibly should not be living that way, but spending at a much lower level. So I hope in the recovery that any increase in price would be monies that would be made would go into reserves. But I think there will be a change in regulation. It could also drive more clarity and transparency on corporate governance, and looking out to support a variety of industries in the economies.
And would you be quite positive, or do you think the continent's well placed, well disposed to benefit from a recovery?
Well, absolutely. You have to look at this on a nation by nation basis. But there is a lot of different business activity going on in most countries today, which was not true if we're looking back in one of the last big crises in the 80s. It's much different, and a variety of different kinds of businesses being created now. We heard a very much more sort of entrepreneurial. I mean, something like 70% of the population in Africa are millennials, and they are very inventive, very creative, very technology-oriented, and you're seeing many businesses emerge, for example, in Ghana, based on technology.
Which is really encouraging. Ellen, thank you very much. That was really insightful. Thank you.
Thank you.